Coming up on Flowing into Awareness with Master Intuitive Anatara. Culture as treatment. What culture were you immersed in growing up? How does other cultures affect you? Are you connecting with the world at large? This and more coming up next here on YHTV. This week's episode is brought to you by Support the Mountains Herbal Parasite Cleanse. This formula targets the small and large intestinal tracts and larvae, the most broad-spectrum formula available today. 100% organic, formulated by Dr. Mikio Sankey, author of the Esoteric Acupuncture series. For 10% off your first bottle, visit shopyogahub.com and use the coupon code CLEANSE at checkout. Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with Visionary and Master Intuitive Anatara. I'm Christina Suzuma, your host of this program. Today our topic is Culture as Treatment. And with us is the beautiful Anatara.
Hello, Christina.
Hello.
Here we are again.
I know. This is an interesting title.
Well, it's funny, as you were reading it, as usually happens, I start to, have certain things come through to me about what it was that I chose when I created the name of the episode. So I thought culture as treatment. The word treatment could be, we could replace that with many other words, but I want to explain why I chose that word. But we'll start with culture. What is culture? As humans, we have cultures. We grow up in a certain certain group of people that have certain belief systems or cultures or traditions. Because of those things, we make certain kinds of choices because we're influenced by what that culture assumes is reasonable or of the best practice, whatever that might be. So we become who we are based on the culture that we are immersed in and exposed to. And I think we're all finding that as the world becomes smaller in terms of cultural exchanges and the internet and people coming together in different ways, we relate to one another and we see one another and we actually get to experience what other people are telling us and expressing about one specific kind of event. So instead of just hearing from our own group of people, our own culture, we hear from people all over the world. We hear how the indigenous people relate to things. We hear how, people in Europe relate to things. There's a subtlety of sort of joining, of sharing, of becoming one that is growing and increasing, and I see as being a very, very divinely helpful thing. I talk all the time about knowing that we are one with each other, that there is no separation. We are one with the universe. We are one with the multiverse. We are one with all live human beings. We are one with the invisible, friends and guides and angels that are all around us. But what do we do with what we hear from some of those other cultures? And literally, I would say that the culture of angels is a culture of its own. Things like that. We're not limited to just what certain groups of people create when I talk about culture. So I've realized that for certain people, there are things within another culture, another group of people's culture, that when absorbed or read about or taught, becomes treatment for what ails them. So does it mean that we were born into the wrong culture? No. Does it mean that we can avail ourselves of everything that's available to us through all this phenomenal communication that we have? Yes. So I feel that we know that there are certain parts of the leading powers of the world that try to still emphasize that one must stick to a certain kind of cultural perspective. And they dismiss and actually cast out anything that doesn't match what they believe is right. So, but what if there's someone in one culture that could benefit entirely from something else that's being expressed to them from somebody else? Many of us join together in this way all the time. Many of us aren't sure how to and don't come across the moments in which we can do that. And then there are those that are rigidly saying, stay away from me. Okay, so there's fear, there's pain, there's uncertainty, there's a challenge to one's own idea of this is who I am. And I say to this, be who you are, absorb what you can and what works within the culture that you come from. And also know that out there in the wider world are all sorts of cultural beliefs and affirmations and practices that may be exactly what you need in order to feel whole. They may be exactly what you need in order to learn and then to be able to relate to the world what it is that you're here to do. So culture is treatment. Treatment for what? Treatment for being stuck, for being lost, for being rigid. Feel free. This is really the message. Feel free to look outside your own culture. Feel safe to look outside your own culture, and enter the relationship with whatever you choose to study or look at or feel. Enter it with an open heart and with acceptance that it's okay for something else to be different. And that different idea, that different practice may be precisely what you need. And that there's no danger in that. There's no danger in any of it. Oh.
I can completely agree with you, Anatara. It is, and that's one of the fascinating adventures to our lives is not to be stuck, is what I'm hearing you say, is to be adventurous, to actually listen and experience what others are doing in the world, and how they approach their life, how they approach their journeys. And we can absolutely learn so much. I mean, I draw from so many different cultures all around me, from, the Chinese. I mean, I want to call it the Canadian,
Oh, yes.
And then the American, and then, it's like the Portuguese. I mean, all these somewhat rigid cultures, but the minute you expand and you step over those boundaries that you were raised with, or that, this society, wherever you're living in the world, that you need to form or fit yourself into, if you pull the best from those cultures, those worlds, it's magnificent.
Exactly. And magnificent is just the best word to describe that. The richness, the fullness is vast, and it's delicious, and it's right here for us. All we have to do is, type a few keys into our mobile device or our computer, and by gosh, there it is. There's a new idea. There is someone else's idea, the precepts of another culture, the patterns of another culture that we can just merge with and find how it can allow us to be more ourselves and to be more one with everything else.
Wonderful.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's just, it is, there is so much to learn and continue learning from out there. And yes, to take down those walls that we might have built, and or just to climb to the top and peer over, and then experience, that's wonderful, really wonderful. Thank you so much, Anatara. Really, this wonderful moment of cultures. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. You can connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter @Anatara, or on Facebook, Master Intuitive, and of course through her own website, anatara.ca, anatara.ca. We hope that this moment on YHTV has supported you or a loved one in some way. We invite you to take a moment to like us or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, we're grateful for your support and feedback and comments. And please, any suggestions, we'd be so happy to receive them. Please give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK. 818-LETS-TALK. Until next time, namaste.
We know that the systems of sound and hearing start in the uterus very early, and we learn about sound through vibration. And one of the interesting things that I did in my research is, there's the certain frequency of sounds that we hear in the human ear, and then there's sounds that are below that frequency and above that frequency. And within the realms of medicine and healing, Western medicine uses the sounds that are above the hearing sounds